reaching out to do interviews. Like, you're calm down. It's the New York Times. You're acting like it's Global Times or CGTN. Okay, calm down. In any case, a progressive mind and a MAGA body. The title is okay. The editor, Hasanabi Head, who's an editor in the chat, was not wrong. This is the title, because she said the title is kind of cringe, but the article is actually pretty good. And yeah, let's do it. I ascertain someone is convinced someone is paying off all these journalists to make puff pieces about you. Yes, dude, it's Qatar. Okay, it's Qatar. I control the media. Okay, I control the media. I have my tentacles in all of these outlets, dude. It can't be that like adult journalists that simply know more than a fucking dumbass YouTube drama slop tube channel have their own fucking convictions, and perhaps maybe even see me as an entry point to basically evade the pre-existing censors within these institutions, you know? But yeah, no, it's not that. It's not that, you know, adults that have their own, you know, that have their own perspectives on these issues don't see what I'm saying in 30-second increments and then fucking place themselves in a paranoid state, and instead understand what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I control the media. So, a progressive mind and a MAGA body. Article headline is not the best. Okay, article headline is not. You know, it's kind of weird because I feel like MAGA body, that's going to piss off a lot of people. I think what they meant there wasn't necessarily like your physical body. I think what they were saying is like MAGA packaging. You know what I mean? I think that would have been probably a better title for this instead of a progressive mind and a MAGA body. If they said progressive mind and a MAGA package or something, or in a bro package or a manosphere package, that makes a little bit more sense. But they condensed the headline. And I'm going to explain to you guys how these sorts of news bits happen, how these sorts of puff pieces or profiles take place. Hopefully this will be educational. I'll tell you like what, you know, some parts that are left out of it versus like what the editorial process looks like to the best of my ability. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not, you know, I'm not talking to the journalists who wrote this piece beyond whenever they call in for follow-ups, right? So articles written by Jack Crosby. He's very cool. He's a very chill guy. He is, you know, he's a leftist, obviously. Mostly writes in the Rolling Stones. He's written all around, however. And originally, the article is supposed to be like a major profile, but then obviously a lot of these other articles start coming in. Slate.com drops an article, and then obviously that kind of like cooks their angle because like everyone is trying to go for the same angle. And then the New York Magazine piece came out, and that was a very long profile. So then that that causes them to like push it back, restructure the article a little bit, and ultimately you arrive at this framing, right? But in any case, remember, the journalist doesn't choose the title. The journalist doesn't even actually choose in most circumstances. Like, journalists will have feedback on which direction the article will go in, but they don't necessarily control. They don't necessarily control the way that the article is going to be presented, right? That's the editorial team's decision. And let's be real, the New York Times' editorial team is not necessarily, now this is the style section, so it's different, but the New York Times' broader editorial team is probably not super fond of me. Like, they probably see me as an ally for being a unique figure in the space that is a progressive figure, like unconditionally progressive figure, if not a radical one, in a space that is dominated by, far right extremism, right? But outside of that, they do see that this is like, I'm clearly doing something that is unique enough for them to be like, let's offer this some coverage. But here it is. Hassan Piker pumps iron, likes weapons, and wears pearls. His brand of masculinity is one of many fans online and has been a useful vehicle for his politics. Hassan Piker has become a star on Twitch and YouTube for hosting hours-long video streams that cover cultural topics like fitness, gaming, and fashion, as well as his socialist politics. By Jack Crosby. Hassan Piker thinks being a man is simple. Like many of his successful internet personalities who appeal to a generation of young men, Mr. Piker, a 33-year-old Twitch and YouTube streamer, is a bro. He likes weapons, inhales supplements, uses nicotine pouches, and ruminates endlessly on the legacy of LeBron James. But unlike many of his contemporaries, Mr. Piker, an avowed socialist, is just as at ease dressing in French-made drag as he is on a basketball court. In the 6 years since he started his daily online broadcast about culture and politics, Mr. Piker has become a streaming star. He has about 4.5 million followers combined on YouTube and Twitch, the platform wildly popular with Americans who came of age during the COVID-19 pandemic. In the most reductive way, it just comes down to confidence. That's what people are talking about when it comes to masculinity, Mr. Piker said in an interview. They're talking about confidence. That confidence carries over into Mr. Piker's discussions of politics. On his streams, conversations about dating, gaming, or exercising often turn into rants supporting organized labor, universal health care, LGBTQ rights. He will just as frequently pivot from criticizing the Democratic Party or the Israeli government to slamming right-wing comedians. This fluency between culture and ideology has led many to brand Mr. Piker a Joe Rogan of the left, if Mr. Rogan had a mop top and painted his nails. Mr. Piker in a studio earlier this year, he knows his success on camera has been partly aided by the way he looks. Mr. Piker's success on camera, in some parts, has been aided by the fact that he is, by conventional standards, a very handsome man. He's 6 feet 4 inches tall and built like a professional athlete with a square jaw, a beard, and a head of thick, dark hair. It's the one aspect that many of my haters can't shake, Mr. Piker said of his appearance on a Twitch broadcast last year. They can't turn around and be like, you're not hot. His physique is the result of an intense fitness regimen that on a sunny morning in January involved repeated sets of squats with a 275-pound barbell, Romanian deadlifts, and walking lunges. Dude, that's it. I'm in the paper of record as being a hottie. It's over. It's ironic because, like a lot of those Sigma Grindset guys are constantly talking about regimens and being an alpha dog, Mr. Piker said, referring to subjects of memes about masculinity that are commonplace in right-wing discourse online, I do live that life, he added. But then I have the diametrically opposite politics. Protected by jock insurance. Indeed, tens of thousands of viewers may watch his videos for his political views, but so many also tune in for the view of Mr. Piker himself, whose social media profiles are littered with suggestive images of his muscly body in states of undress. What the heck is this? That's crazy. Or thirst traps, as the pictures are known. Some of his fans scrape, screenshot, clip, and repackage them into fan cams that travel across the internet, glorifying Mr. Piker's appearance and indirectly his beliefs. Emma Morgan, a 27-year-old researcher, is among them. A lot of people are just really shallow online, Ms. Morgan said. There's a stigma of, if you care about marginalized people, if you care about these issues, you must be a weak, basement-dwelling dude. If I have to make a fan cam to radicalize people, she added, then I will. The hasanabi Thirst Talk Clips Industrial Complex gets a shout-out here. Yep. Lit up Emma. Mr. Piker approaches getting dressed with the same meticulousness as he does working out. Each day he streams, he typically posts a selfie of his outfit before he starts. His clothing choices can sometimes be as provocative as his opinions. On a recent trip to Japan, Mr. Piker wore a tight French maid's outfit, a pair of fuzzy cat ears, and a demure string of pearls while streaming from one of the country's maid cafes. During a Twitch stream in 2023, Mr. Piker asked viewers to participate in a live demographic survey. Those who did offered a sense of his audience. About 70% of the participants identified as male, more than 60% identified as being younger than 30, and about 40% identified as having a sexual orientation other than straight. Mr. Piker benefits from jock insurance. I've never heard this before, but it makes perfect sense, by the way, after I read the article. Said Tristan Bridges, a sociologist who studies masculinity and gender at the University of California, Santa Barbara. The term is used to describe how men with a lot of masculine gender capital are generally given more leeway to do things like challenge norms and make mistakes, he added. For an appearance at the 2024 TwitchCon convention, Mr. Piker wore a tank top that showed off his arms. The jocks are allowed to break the rules and not have a consequence for it, or not have consequences for it, Mr. Bridges said, adding that Mr. Piker's idea of masculinity was less rigid than more traditional versions centered on the belief that America was easier and better when everybody played the roles they were designed to play. Jordan Dean, a 19-year-old gender studies student who follows Mr. Piker, said that the part that he plays up the most is definitely that he's a bro, cisgender, heterosexual white guy. Mr. Dean, a transgender man, added. Watching him be comfortable painting his nails, wearing dresses, is not revolutionary things, but he's showing that it's okay to be a cis guy and experiment with gender presentation. Gains, guns, and gay culture. Mr. Piker typically streams from a studio at his home in West Hollywood, California, a modern townhouse he shares with Kaya, his Bernese Mountain Dog mix that weighs more than 100 pounds. He can spend up to 10 hours a day recording in a studio where there are no fewer than 10 swords and shells festooned with video game art and other knickknacks. There's also a black assault rifle, which Mr. Piker was quick to note was fake. It's airsoft, he said. I like guns, but I would never keep one in the house. Or would I? While Rogan's podcasts typically feature interviews with guests that meander into politics, Mr. Piker often approaches the topic alone on solo streams. Although he has recorded with the likes of Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Representative AOC of New York, last year he streamed from the DNC. Mr. Piker disagrees with the comparisons to Rogan and has characterized what each does as being completely different. His marathon streaming sessions are fueled partly. This is one of the things that I actually said to the journalist was I ironically am the inverse Joe Rogan in the sense that sometimes what I'm doing is quite literally addressing the misinformation that Joe Rogan is spreading, which is part of the reason why whenever people say like, oh, you're the left Joe Rogan, I'm like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Because a big part of what I do, and a big part of the reason why a lot of journalists actually appreciate what I do, is because there is so much misinformation online, contrary to what like all of the annoying liberals say about how I'm the Alex Jones of the left or whatever. If you actually were to listen to journalists, they have a very different attitude about what I do because they know that a big chunk of my work is to specifically look at misinformation online, address that misinformation, correct the record, and actually show the real news coverage on the matter. Now, of course, real journalists understand that. They see the value in that. They recognize it. But drama slop tubers will turn around and say, I'm, spreading fake news or whatever. Who are you supposed to trust in this process? His marathon streaming sessions are fueled partly by cartons of Zyn, cans of Diet Dr. Pepper, and energy drinks. Mr. Piker, who fasts daily as a part of his fitness routine, usually consumes only coffee until around 2 p.m., when he has his first meal of precisely 1.1 pounds of roasted chicken breast with low-carb pita, meze, and sauces. He says his persona is built upon authentic interest in fitness, culture, style, and politics that he has had throughout his life. Mr. Piker was in a fraternity at Rutgers University, yes, but he also has been a lifelong gamer and anime fan. He moved to the Los Angeles area in 2013 after graduating from Rutgers and telling his parents, both college professors, that he intended to apply to law school. Instead, he got a job in ad sales at the Young Turks, a progressive news network founded by his uncle, the pundit Cenk Uygur. Mr. Piker does not deny that he is a Nepo baby, he said. A perfect society is one in which those types of advantages don't matter, he added. That I also said that is what I am fighting for. Like this would not, not so fast. Scroll back up to that dirty desk pic, bro. Yeah, it's nasty. I know. – Yeah. Shaky Gurga made me, which is not something that I hide, obviously, but it'll be funny when people go, oh my God, he admitted being a Nepo baby. It's like, yeah, I always do. Hello, welcome. By 2016, he was regularly appearing in videos on the Young Turks social media accounts. He started streaming on Twitch 2 years later. Fashion, he said, is something he has loved since he was too big. He was a too big teen growing up in Turkey, where he inhaled American culture through TV shows like The Boondocks. Mr. Piker, who is straight, is aware that wearing pearls and painting his nails can suggest otherwise, inviting attention from gay men. Last year, when a gay content creator asked Mr. Piker if he was an ally in an interview at a Pride event in Los Angeles, he jokingly said no, then playfully added, "I'm a foe." Mr. Piker then spanked the interviewer, who was wearing an American flag Speedo swimsuit, in front of a bus emblazoned with a logo for Grindr, the gay dating app. Of his image, he said, "I don't feel the need to present myself in any way that I am not. Always unfiltered, sometimes extreme." Here we go. You have to have a little bit of sauce in there. You know what I mean? You have to have a little bit. It can't all be glaze and praise. You know, it's the New York Times after all. So let's take a look. Now it gets juicy. Mr. Piker is similarly unfiltered with his viewpoints. Some can be extreme. This is the part that I wanted to mention, as far as like, this is the editorial control kicking in the conversation to present it in a balanced fashion. I don't even think this is like off base, by the way. There's only one part of this entire article that I, understand why the New York Times editorial board takes these sorts of decisions on, that I obviously disagree with. But overall, I think this is pretty on the level, right? A vocal critic of U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, Mr. Piker has been labeled anti-American by people across the political spectrum for saying the country deserved the September 11 attacks. His recent accusations that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza and his diatribes against the Zionist movement have led many supporters of Israel, including liberals like Representative Richie Torres of New York, to call Mr. Piker anti-Semitic. Did you catch the part that I don't think is... This was, and I know for a fact, so... There's a full quote from me that Jack got, and I was actually very interested to see how this quote would make its way into the article, and I'm willing to bet that there was probably a lot of back and forth, and it most likely went all the way up the editor chain until they finally arrived at this version as an appropriate way to put in print. Like, because I straight up, you know me, it's not like I, hold back. Do you remember your full quote? My full quote was something along the lines of like, Israel is an apartheid state that is committing a genocide. Something things that I say all the time, things that are the truth. And this is not just my assessment. This is the assessment of international organs of justice, like all this stuff, right? But what's important here is that the New York Times is, they're going to put that in there because that's my opinion. And this is a profile on me, obviously, like, and it's a part of who I am. But it's interesting that like, televised baby Holocaust. No, I'm not going to give a quote to the New York Times where I say this is a live streamed child Holocaust. Like, there's a difference, right? Yeah. Ali Abunima also had this to say: in this generally flattering profile, New York Times labels Hassan the Hun extreme for calling Israel's genocide of Palestinians what it is. Note the quotation marks, which this poisonous propaganda rag uses to try to mainstream genocide denial. So that was the two parts in this that I found to be interesting. What I mean is, and this is not like up to the journalist, like 100%. This is not like the journalist himself is not making this decision. Okay. Straight up. This is, as I've said before, there's always a disparity between the newsrooms and the teams and the editorial team in most publications. And this is a classic example of that. It says encoding in process, new gooch boofing for the settlers, Daco. Please react this on only 4 minutes. Can you please stop spamming my Chinese heart AI cover? I'm not going to react to it right now in the midst of me reading this New York Times article. So that's the thing. It's not my accusations that Israel is committing a genocide in air quotes. And I think that right there is the New York Times is like seasoning where they're like, this is fit to print. Like this is his real genuine belief, but we can't put it in there. And his diatribes against the Zionist movement have led many supporters. And by the way, to be fair, like they were much lighter on me than I thought they would be, because I was definitely a little worried when doing this initially, because, you know, the New York Times is, and this has nothing to do with like the actual journalists that work there, right? But the New York Times broadly is, them and the BBC are pretty awful on the issue of Israel. Anyway, I find anti-Semitism to be completely unacceptable, Mr. Piker said on a call in April. I find the conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism to be very dangerous, he added. I talked more on this as well, aside from this. Is this where the terrorists gather? Is Luffy still alive? Says Flippy333. No. Don't ban that guy. He's having fun. This is how he chooses to spend his Sunday. Yeah. His video streams are peppered with expletives, vulgarities, and other language that many have disavowed in the name of political correctness. He blocks commenters for what he sees as overt hate speech, but not for speaking critically when they challenge his views on topics like transgender rights or the war in Gaza. Some have accused him of sharing misinformation on streams, but Mr. Piker says his aim is to provide factual information along with his own views. John Favreau, a founder of the center-left podcast Pod Save America and his liberal parent company Crooked Media, said Mr. Piker's willingness to engage with viewpoints outside his own was another trait that might appeal to young men who had swung towards the right. He wants to reach those people too, Mr. Favreau said. But the way Mr. Piker presents himself could work against him, said Reese Peck, a professor of media culture at the College of Staten Island and the author of Fox Populism, Branding Conservatism as Working Class. He's more events in Soho than he is Eastern Kentucky, as Mr. Peck put it. That bicoastal, stylish, hip masculinity has its limitations to appeal to a broad array of young men, especially working class young men. Now, what I find really funny is I don't really go to any events at all, let alone events in Soho, but I get what he's trying to say. Like, he's saying I'm a hoity-toity bicoastal elitist, which is true. And it's not something that I hide, right? Ironically enough, it's not something that I hide at all. I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like, and I'm very vocal about it. I always see that as being honest. The irony, of course, is that none of these guys that actually appeal to a lot of the people that fucking live in Eastern Kentucky are in any way, shape, or form from that background anyway, right? And there's plenty of people from Eastern Kentucky, ironically enough, in this fucking community, as a matter of fact. So that's what's really interesting about it, because, like, it's not like Theo Vaughn. Yeah, Theo Vaughn has that background for sure, Louisiana boy, right? But nowadays, it's not like he's fucking mucking it up and going in the swamp and wrestling gators, right? He's a super famous Hollywood celebrity. You see what I'm saying? And the same goes for Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is an incredibly wealthy person, right? Andrew Schultz and that entire podcast is filmed directly out of the what is the fucking place? The hotel I stayed at as well. It's like the coolest place in New York, or was the coolest place in New York for a little bit. Dime Square, thank you. So none of these guys are actually, directly broadcasting. None of these guys are directly broadcasting from, what do you call it? Eastern Kentucky. Oh, you stayed at 9 Orchard, bro? Yeah, I did. Okay. That bicoastal, stylish, hip masculinity has a limitation to appeal to a broad array of young men, especially working class young men. This part I actually disagree with. Because this also, if I were to present myself as something I'm not, then it would be inauthentic. It would also go against, like, my whole appeal, What you see is what you get. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's motherfuckers in the Midwest that like anime too, you know? That's it. I'm not going to flip my, as an Eastern Kentuckian myself, you get along with us more than others, my Eastern KY peeps, yeah, that's what I mean. Like Trillbillies is a podcast of Eastern Kentuckians who are straight up in Kentucky, right? But I would suspect that, and I love those boys, they're fantastic, right? But I would suspect that, you know, someone like Joe Rogan or Andrew Schultz probably is more prominent in the content consumption of like average Joes that are linemen or fucking work in construction in places like that, right? Like those guys are certainly not more real Appalachians than the Trillbillies boys, right? They're from the heart of Appalachia. So my point is, the working class and their consumption doesn't necessarily like the working class and their consumption is not looking for like optics, and that is not who I am anyway. It would be inauthentic if I were to present myself as like, you know, wearing cowboy boots and working a field type shit. That's what a lot of Republicans do. That's like what Ted Cruz does, you know? Yale graduate, puts on the snakeskin, acts like he's a real salt of the earth kind of guy, flies off to Cancun when his fucking state is collapsing. Clancy Campbell, a 20-year-old fan of Mr. Piker who is studying to become an esthetician, said the difference between Mr. Piker and his right-leaning counterparts could be boiled down to the amount of care and where you put it. With the right-wing media and stuff, they care almost too much about issues that don't matter, he said. With Hassan, it's like he cares, but in the right places. Alec Flynn, a 28-year-old comedian in Los Angeles whose material draws from his life as a straight man, said he did not religiously follow Mr. Piker, but he understood the appeal of Mr. Piker's brand of masculinity. The more authentically yourself you are, the more effective you will be, said Mr. Flynn, who was also in a college fraternity. At the end of the day, he added, people like frat bros. And that's where the article ends. Okay? Yeah, I work in the Midwest. Most of the coworkers are not fans of the coastal urban cities because of their more liberal social views, but they are pretty leftist either way with their economic opinions. Yeah. My point is, there isn't really anyone that actually authentically from, you know, Ohio or whatever that then turns around and makes a podcast. Like, there are some people who I think fit that prototype even better than others. Like, I'd say Shane Gillis and his background. Like, he's now super famous, but I think the reason why he has like broad appeal is because he's just fucking funny. Like, that's it. People only care about that. People care about your output. People care about your likability. People don't necessarily care whether or not you are really from, you know, this background, really from this area or whatever, right? Hank Pecker is the only red-blooded American who's appealed to coal miners, brother. Yeah. I understand the bro framing, but speaking in terms of the cisgender white male that is a huge NFL fan and also a metalhead, the appeal from my perspective was not the culture you consume. No. I think that this scratches the surface of what I do, and I think it's the juxtaposition of like what I look like and how I carry myself as opposed to what I say, right? And I think that is the package in and of itself that plays a role in why I find success. I think one of the best parts of the article is the jock insurance thing, which is I've never thought about it like that. Like, I never knew that that's what it was called, but it's something that I've talked about quite a bit, which is that it's something that I even bring up when I'm talking about like the fucking Andrew Tates of the world, right? It's like people that look like me, people that talk like me, the expectation is I'm supposed to be this like MAGA right-wing guy. I'm supposed to have this machismo, and the only way to showcase my machismo and bravado is by constantly dunking on vulnerable populations to elevate my status, to elevate your status as a byproduct. Like, we're all higher than these fucking losers, these people that just like are weird and gross and fuck them, right? Like, people that are vulnerable. And I think that that's lame as fuck. I think that that's weak as fuck. So, but did they not mention your belief system or your socialism? That's kind of odd. No, they did in the beginning. But you know, men are down bad when one leftist dude is on the New York Times front page. Yeah, I do dunk on vulnerable populations all the time, like gaming frogs. That's true. New York Times somehow believes that one can authentically be working class, a la plaid shirts and cowboy boots, and most conservatives and libs use that aesthetic to appeal in a way that is entirely inauthentic. People aren't stupid. Exactly. It would not be real if I was like, you know, wearing work boots and shit and running around like I'm actually, what is this? Meanwhile, Ethan's New York Times debut. What? Yeah, apparently Ethan is not very happy about this. He is very upset that I got this article written, and he's been posting about it. He's been posting about it since like 6 a.m. our time, which I think is a crazy thing to do when you first wake up. Like, I first woke up and I posted about the article because, you know, it's the article that I was waiting for. I was waiting for it to come out. It's been a long time. The article took place a long ass time ago. It's odd for him to wake up and also post nonstop. Literally nobody says that except those paid by his publicist. As a recent 2 minutes ago on a multi-story Insta rant, his fluency between culture and ideology has led many to brand Piker or Joe Rogan to the left, and Mr. Rogan had a mop top and painted his nails. Literally nobody says that except those paid by his publicist. I don't have a publicist. My haters can't tell me you're not hot, bro. Jewelry and nail paint. This dude is different. Wow, 10 words you say, and they happen to pick the swastika one. So brave of him to disavow Nepo babies. Oh my God. How can people that are fans of this guy not think, dude, you're 40 years old, you have 3 kids, like, it's Sunday. Just, you know, can't you save this for the show or something? Like, why are you doing this? How can people not recognize how fucking obsessed this is? You mean the dudes that are known for hazing their friends to death and sexually assaulting drunk college girls? Doesn't everyone hate frat bros? He's dunking on every aspect of the article. Very strange stuff, man. Like, I hope he gets better. Thanks for reading my review. He posted again and said, thanks for reading my review. Dude, oh my God. You don't think the New York Times is trying to make this seem like it's optics and not about issues? Is what they've been doing since election. Dems don't need to fix their policies. They just need a leftist Joe Rogan. And that's what I think this New York Times article was playing up. I think that they're trying to make sense of why someone like myself why someone like myself has seen a lot of success in an otherwise right-wing dominated landscape. And and for them, it's like, it can't be the issues at all. So it can't be the issues themselves. It can't be what I'm saying. So it must be like the aesthetic. And to be fair, the way I look does play a role in this, right? The way I look does play a role in this. The packaging certainly is a part of it. Yeah, he placed the laughing, crying emoji over, I guess, my statements about political correctness. He blocks commenters for what he sees as overt hate speech, but not for speaking critically when they challenge his views on topics like transgender rights or the war in Gaza. Yeah, he clipped I find anti-Semitism to be completely unacceptable, Mr. Piker said on a call in April. I find the conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism to be very dangerous. He's being especially unhinged because the last episode did very poorly on views because it was the first step in a while, not clickbaiting you or iDubbbz. Yeah. As usual, he puts out the dog whistle on his Instagram stories. And then his rabbit fan base starts a harassment campaign. Shame on you. Oh, he's report this trash puff piece to the New York Times editorial board. Thanks for posting first today. This is clearly pushed forward by a publicist working for Hassan to get ahead of any negative publicity. Dude, I don't think these guys understand. They're allowing an email hate brigade on their sub, not linking directly, but I posted a tweet about it. I don't know if these guys understand that, like, this kind of stuff is very annoying to newspapers in general. You don't come across as like a normal person. And also, this is a direct brigade. Can you stop talking about him? Dude, are you fucking stupid? Are you actually that stupid that you don't understand what I'm showing here is not just like me doing drama? Like, what are you talking about? This is a direct fucking brigade. Like, this is also literally, by Reddit standards, not allowed. Like, this is, you're harassing a journalist and you're trying to get a fucking journalist fired for writing a profile on someone you don't like. This is literally Gamergate shit. This is what Gamergaters were doing for years and years. It's so insane because, like, every content creator has a decent amount of stalkers, right? But most content creators don't have a stalker that basically makes content off of them stalking, like everything that I do. I like you aren't downplaying the positive side of their obsession aesthetic and rapping aside. There's a real benefit to you being given publicity. Negativity be damned. Yeah, because I don't want people to get fucking fired for, I mean, it's not going to happen anyway, but I don't want people to have to deal with like annoying calls and shit like that. Like, it's so stupid. It's so lame. You know what I mean? It doesn't play the role they think. I really hate how the DNC was even has even independence as far as the majority report talking about messaging when it's a completely vapid party and makes the program very close to his doom. Yeah. No wonder Ethan was so shocked. What is this? We are not a Hassan snark. Over 150 posts in the last 7 days filled with such bangers as Hassan is jealous of Ethan. I can't stop imagining Hassan bringing someone back to his place for the first time. Note the Hassan post of the most engagement. Yeah, they use the subreddit like I mean, it's a snark subreddit for sure. This is not the first time that these guys have done this. Anytime any fucking journalist has ever written anything about me, they have to basically go private for like a week. It's so gross, man. It's crazy because like none of these other, I wish that like other content creators that are in this space would at least pay a little bit of attention to this and be like, all right, man, you know, this is gotten out of hand. Every hater, when he talks about you and you respond, oh my God, can you move on? What? Yeah. Reddit is where the niche issues get resolved and where decency goes to die afterwards. Other content creators don't have mainstream news asking for their political opinions. No, I know, but like this is very clearly a major issue, right? On its own, regardless, like this is an extended year-long crash out that has turned into like constant brigading, doxing campaigns, frivolous litigation to get people's private information, to bully them, to harass them, going after Redditors, going after journalists. Like it's so weird. It's so strange that it's just like something that we all have to fucking put up with. Other content creators themselves see this kind of thing and go, ugh, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to fucking incur the wrath of Ethan's foot soldiers. And I feel like that's such a strange, there's just a strange place to exist in where everyone is like, yeah, this stuff is weird and gross, but you know, there a lot of people are just like genuinely worried that he will come after them. This is something that happened with Adam Ross as well initially. You know? Why are you shocked? They did the same with D for 5 years. I know. They are still first world problems, though. No, I mean, yeah, that's true. But we are in the first world, you know? I'm trying to put the truth out in the space where people may see it in my free time, but the Diddy G and E community is legion. It's tough to break through. Yeah. Just remember, it's mostly online. Even though the more we spend time online, the more the shit that we do online becomes the reality. New York Times article title change. What did they change it to? Nobody liked the article title initially, so I'm not surprised. A progressive. Oh my God, they literally changed it to what I just said. A progressive mind and a body made for the manosphere. That's cool. Anyway, I think it was a good. I think it was a good article. Obviously, Jack's the man, by the way. He was dope. He was great. And I hope that he doesn't get a lot of fucking harassment, you know? Paid publicist confirmed? Yeah. Do you think that debating Ethan will shut him and the Legion up? No, of course not. No, I think the fact that it's online makes it a more pressing of an issue. At this point, most people in the 18 to 25 age group primarily gets their info online. I know, but I'm also online, you know? I'm also duking it out here. It just sucks because like I'm duking it out over here and I wish that I wouldn't have to deal with like people who consider themselves to be liberals and present themselves as liberals who are supposed to be like ideologically aligned with someone like myself, especially at a time when there's more pressing issues like the Trump administration, you know, throwing the Constitution in a pile and lighting it on fire, right? Do you see what I mean? Like, it just sucks that I also have to deal with like the apolitical drama side of things. Like, it's not enough that there is already so much right-wing commentary all over the fucking internet, like everywhere, right? But then also on top of that, like even the apolitical guys and the liberals and the centrists also have to constantly present, you know, my style of politics as like bad. And these guys never actually present a leftist voice that is good, by the way. It's not like they're propping up certain people and being like, this is actually a really good person on this issue. Like Ethan tried doing that for Israel Palestine, and the guy he came up with was fucking Boner Box. Like that person is not like there was a point I think when he was definitely more critical of Israel, but he's not. Like he went to fucking Israel. Like he did a propaganda trip with members of the Israeli with members of the Israeli Foreign Ministry. So is really fucked up. I was told by a prominent former gamer turned liberal commentator that if you woke up tomorrow and there were no hit pieces, you'd be bothered. You mean they lied to me? No, it would be amazing. I fucking, God. it would be the most amazing moment of my life. There would be like a moment of peace for once, you know? I mean, those guys know that that it's a distraction and it fucking sucks, right? Because if they thought that it was something that I enjoyed, then they wouldn't do it. These people despise me. Like, they fucking hate me. And they've said as much. I mean, some of these guys have gone as far as to say, like, oh, I hope he kills himself, which is so crazy because, like, you know, I'm doing pretty good. Just turn off your PC for peace, little bro. Yeah. Much love from Prussia, bro. I asked Wilhelm to put in a good word for you with the Sultan. Keep it up, brother. Thank you. It's socialism or barbarism. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Is there anything that to get Ethan to stop? No, he'll never stop. Especially because he knows that whenever he brings up my name and attacks me, he brings on some of the grossest fucking losers online to come and watch him. They love that shit. So I think this is beneficial for him as well. He gets to feel smart, which is what he wants more than anything else. And it gives him like clout as well. I mean, he's, you know, I feel like he's got his own shit to worry about at this point, though. I mean, he's got like a billionaire that he has a defamation suit around. So. I don't normally condone this kind of stuff. What? No. Shut the fuck up. Don't say fucking shit like that. Hot take. I think the reason he wants to debate you is so he can close the strong obsession and make it into a less small obsession. Thus, he can pull all his main focus to IDubs. He's like the USA with the Middle East and China. No. Chris Kunzler popped off again. Lonerbox, Israel's dumbest propagandist. Wow. King shit. Anyway. Did he have targets before you, which became so obsessive about? Yes. I think pretty much everyone. But the only difference is I don't think it was this long and this extended. And also, their politics were so bad and the stuff that they had done were so bad that most people didn't realize that it was like obsessive in a similar vein, myself included. Like, I don't also know Ethan's background that well. I'm not super familiar with what he had done with like his former podcast co-hosts like Trisha or any number of different people that he's like targeted in the past, whether it be what do you call it? A fucking Keemstar or all these other dudes, right? Like, I don't know. So you know. I bet he talks about Loner Box still staying. There were wait, what? Oh, this is the other thing I was going to show you. Before the New York Times article came out, he posted one of my full takes where I say like, if you're a Zionist, like I think people who promote Israel should not be in local office. Like they should be treated in the same exact way that people who promote Nazi Germany or apartheid South Africa are. And and he posted it on his Instagram. He posted it on his Instagram story, my full take. Here I think like this will never happen, but in a totally just world, any kind of regardless of your background, any kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a fucking rabid neo-Nazi. And you shouldn't even let someone be the fucking local dog catcher as Felix was posting if they've ever exhibited any sort of like positive feelings about the state of Israel. I'm so serious about this. I think like this will never happen, but in a yeah. So he posted this and said, "This is a significant escalation of violent, dehumanizing language, even for him." And I found this very strange. Does he assume that people are not going to actually watch or listen to the video that he posted? Like, what's the dehumanizing and violent language here? Can you tackle the argument? Or is it all you got is just a cry and be like, wow, he's being mean to Israel again and defenders of Israel again. How violent and how dehumanizing. I said, Lamau, yes, I think a politician supporting Israel, which is an apartheid state doing a genocide, should be treated in the same way as a politician supporting Nazi Germany or apartheid South Africa. Why is this violent language exactly? You can say this about Russia or Iran and you get promoted, but God forbid you say this about Israel. Like how do people how do people figure this out? Just be ready for this to be a big deal, even though he banned this person? No, it's not going to be a big deal. They found a chatter in the fucking photos they took that was insta banned. Like, I don't give a shit. It's only a big deal if you make it a big deal by bringing it over here. Who cares if they try to like brigade it and fucking lose their minds over it? Yes, unlike Ethan, I actually don't only have fucking paid members who I then ban anyway. Okay? Ethan only allows paid dissent, people that pay him to speak in his chat, and he fucking bans them regardless when they actually step out of line in any way, shape, or form. He's created the fucking most insane hug box of all time. I, on the other hand, like having political discourse in this chat, in this community. I'm a political commentator. I have fucking Trump supporters on here. I have neo-Nazis that come into the chat all the fucking time. I have Ethan Klein fans who come in here with no fucking understanding of anything, really. Yeah. I ban him. Ethan is so allergic to any sort of pushback that he will literally button his employees that he has hired when they say something that he finds to be unacceptable. And that, by the way, isn't that they've said something reactionary or whatever. He finds it to be unacceptable because they're dissenting. Okay. And then those guys mysteriously leave the studio in the aftermath of that. You know? But yeah, it's interesting that, you know, he posted this take as it I miss the Trumpers so much. I'm so tired of these Asman viewers who have been MAGA for 1 month. They don't have the reps in. I know. It's sad. Back in the day, we used to have ride or die MAGA guys, right? They would come in here and be like, Hassan, you're fucking gay. You know, Trump is the great white hope. He's the truth. Like, back in the day, we had those real ones, right? Nowadays is dudes who just like adopted the MAGA moniker a month and a half ago, and they don't have the enthusiasm. They don't have the knowledge. They don't even know the talking points. It's just like, bruh, you're a terrorist. That's it. And I don't know if the MAGA movement has gotten dumber over the course of these past couple of years. That probably is part of it. You know what I mean? Like I think a part of this is because they've just simply gotten dumber. So it's no longer as fun. There's literally a video on this phenomenon. Where did all the Trump supporters go? Oh yeah, I mean, I did. I used to complain about not having any Trump supporters in my chat. This was like September 5th, 2023, almost 2 years ago. Because I was hoping that, you know, they'll come back. I miss them. MMMA, make MAGA men MAGA again. Yeah. It's like fans of a show that watch each season in real time versus someone who binge watches and their opinions. Kind of. Yeah, I was in there. I was in there for all of its glory. Anyway, let's see what all of the best minds are saying on Twitter about this. Hey, New York Times, you don't have to do this. New York Times, no. Khalil, no. New York Times, no. Yeah, they changed the article. Yeah, people are complaining because this person, I guess, Tracing Woodgrains, co-founder of Center for Educational Progress, a think tank centered around orienting education around a culture of excellence, says, everything about this headline and fawning puff piece viscerally disgusts me. Why are we yielding the word progressive to people who daydream about the Houthis destroying their country? Why spend a whole column sucking up to him? Why call fitness MAGA? Every bit is wretched. We is the public. I grant the leftists have done a lot to make the word progressive synonymous with Hassan's brand of retrogressive third worldism, but I reject that. Public should shrug and agree. Progressive should be oriented towards progress. Yeah. I think that my anti-imperialist stance, I wouldn't... Third worldism, by the way. The fucking Orientalist Western chauvinism just is dripping with content. Like, just so much anger and resentment. Like, how dare you talk about these fucking slaves, dude? Third worldism. Wesley Yang, why are we yielding the word progressive to people who daydream about Houthis destroying their country? Not sure who is meant to be the we doing the yielding here, but I suspect that this we includes Trace as a weaker claim of defining progressive than New York Times and Picard. We is the public. I'm not claiming to have a stronger claim on the word as it's used at present. I'm making a normative claim about how the word should be used. Progress is not the property of leftists. Yeah, perhaps the reason why people don't shy away from calling me progressive is because I am fucking progressive. And believe in social progress. I believe in improving everyone's material conditions, including those people that you don't want to think about that live in the third world, third worldist politics. No, sorry, I'm apolitical. Hold on. I'm apolitical. The right itself enthusiastically associates fitness, weightlifting in particular, with right-wing politics. Not as this just is something the New York Times came up with no reason. Your opponents liking something good is not good reason to treat that good thing as fundamentally tied to them. I don't even disagree with that side of it. Like, I don't think that tying it to MAGA, tying fitness to MAGA is appropriate because, like, come on, let's be real. A lot of these fucking, I've seen the crowds at a MAGA rally. Okay, as an apolitical guy, check the hat. Apolitical, obviously, this is common sense. A lot of these guys are fat, okay? A lot of these guys are struggling. And I don't mean financially. I mean struggling with stairs, okay? Yeah, the struggle is real, baby. Their heart's getting a real workout every time it beats super hard. When they see their glorious king Well, to be fair, is a wee bit tied to MAGA content creators specifically.